Cardinal Prime. Evening. So since it's been 2 months since you joined us, we've been wondering. We've never seen you call on it for help, so what you meant is analog not found. Jake looked at his colleague, slightly puzzled. What? Buzaz, I have no idea what you asked about. The translator didn't recognize the term. The Cardalan stroked an 8-jointed finger along the bar. Humanity's unknown entity needs more data to approximate. You know, the being your entire species is protected and guided by. Jake scratched his head, taking a sip from his ale. That really doesn't translate well. Are you talking about gods? We don't really have one as such. I think humanity's had 10,000 of them, give or take a couple thousand, and most don't even believe in them. Wazaz flared his nostrils slightly. Not gods, we've had our pantheons in our past too. No, I mean all of humanity's era. You know, the one who's always there to guide you, regardless of faith. The one every member of your species can channel in times of need. The one every member of your species has an intimate connection to. Jake shook his head slowly. We don't have anything like that. We don't even have a word for it. Are you talking about a being of some sort, like a guardian angel? Buzaz tilted his head. Close, but not quite it. The translator implies these guardian angels are dependent on religion, yes, but all different, not one collective entity. Jake sighed. Okay. The translator has figured out that it's an entity you're referring to, but can't narrow it down beyond that. Okay. Let us say, for the sake of argument, that humanity actually has one of those things, and I just don't know about it. How would I go about finding out? Buzaz frowned. Why, a mirror of sages, of course. No species has made it to the galactic community without one to help guide them. Jake looked at Buzaz as though his alien friend had suddenly grown a 5th horn. A mirror of what now? Don't think Earth's ever even had one of those. We figured everything out on our own. Buzaz blinked slowly. You've never looked in a mirror of sages? You've never seen your patron entity? Jake arched an eyebrow. Translator's getting warmer, I think. It suggested patron entity as something close. But no, never seen it. Buzaz drained his drink. Alright, we have one in town. We're going straight there. This I have to see. Jake finished his own ale and sighed. Not getting out of this one, huh? Alright, I'll bite. What's yours? Buzaz grinned. Cardala's patron entity is Azala the Builder. She taught our people to build shelters from the environment from before we developed agriculture. Whenever one of our kind needs to create a safe space from something, whether cold wind and rain, blistering sun, or vacuum space, so Zaza guides our hands, even manifests to aid us directly if the need is great enough. Jake nodded. Okay, that's interesting. But she's not a goddess? Buzaz shook her head. Gods are transient, but Zaza requires no worship. She did not make her, she is... How to phrase this? There is a part of her in all of Cardalan's. No exceptions, and she only works with the living. The gods have reign over the afterlife, if you believe in something like that, but the patrons only deal with the living. Jake scratched his head. Alright. Tagging along. Is it far? Before the Mirror of Sages, Cardala Prime. Buzaz walked into the chamber first, leading the way to a large black mirror, so dark Jake thought it was a hole in the wall leading to... nowhere? As Jake watched Buzaz walk closer, a Cardalan woman began to appear next to him, dressed in functional clothes and carrying some tools at her waist. Ah, that must be Zaza? Buzaz grinned. Yes, she'll manifest when we come close to the mirror. So tell me, what colours do you see? What images do you see in the mirror? Jake walked closer. Just black. In fact, it's blacker than black. Probably a shade darker than Vantablack, even. Buzaz paused, slowly turning his head towards Jake. You're joking, right? Everyone sees the colours of their patron reflect. A tall, gaunt, outright skeletal figure in a hooded robe of blacker than black, carrying a scythe, stepped up next to Jake. I shall admit it's not much to look at, but we all play the hand we are dealt, and I dare say I've done quite well by you, haven't I, Jacob? Jake slowly turned to face death, even as Buzaz and Zazaza backed away. I don't know. Maybe. Death regarded Jake for a long moment. I've always been with you all, been part of all humanity. No one has ever been completely alone, you know. There's always been me. Jake tried to find his voice again. So natural disasters, diseases, murder, were you responsible for those too? Because that's not really what I call doing. Death wagged a finger. I've done nothing of the sort. I've been the last friend anyone's ever had, there to help them move on when their soul's been ready to leave the body behind. I've never had the need to forcibly harvest anyone not ready to move on. I am inevitability. I have no need to hasten anything at all. Bazaz squeaked out, Jake? What sort of world was your Earth again? Jake frowned. Earth? Death World, Class 8. Why? Death chuckled. It sounded like a kazoo in a very large empty stone cave. Death World, yes. An appropriate term, though unfair. There is so much life there, though ultimately it is mine, and its people are mine, and part of me. He turned to Bazaz. Curiosity can be a terrible thing, Buzas Torres. Some answers may cause you to never sleep well again. You see me for what I am, and you fear it. I see you for what you are, too, and your people need not fear me. You create homes. You will not bring me out in humanity. But I can tell you know which people might do so. Perhaps you'll be so kind as to spread the word. He turned to Zazaza and bowed. If, of course, you will permit, milady. Then he turned and walked away, only pausing to add, Oh, and Jacob? Rusty is waiting for you. Not to worry, you have several decades left, but there is something good waiting for you on the other side. Until then, I'll always be here when you need me. Bazaz slumped to the ground, kneeling, and stared at Jake. Your death? Your entire species is death. Then he passed out. 3 years later. While Jake stayed in his job on Cardala, Bazaz set out towards the other home systems, warning the more warlike species about humanity's patron and protector. One decided they didn't believe the warnings, and set out to conquer this upstart species. The result was inevitable.